Hello everybody, this is Highlander from MTG Cardsmith doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review, and today we're reviewing a card by Rayne-Lord. This is a card called Sultan of Molten Fury. That's kind of neat. It's kind of rhymey. Sultan of Molten. I wish he was just called Sultan of Molten. That would be a great name. Sultan of the Molten. Get that Fury out of there. Sultan of the Molten. That's what I say. All right, so this is cool. I love Ifrit, by the way. I don't know. I just got a thing for them. Listen, it's not like that. Okay, it's just I enjoy them. It's not like that either. I like looking at them. It's not like that either. All right, forget it. Anyway, this guy is a 5-mana triple red card for a 5/4. So 5-mana 5/4, heavy red cost. Trample. When Sultan of the Molten, I'm just going to call it that, enters the battlefield, you may discard up to 3 cards. Then Sultan of the Molten deals damage to target player and each creature that player controls equal to the number of cards discarded this way. Period. Okay. So we got a 5/4 trample. Doesn't have flying, which is a little unusual for a Djinn, but okay, let me read this one more time. When Sultan of the Molten enters the battlefield, you may discard up to 3 cards. Then Sultan of the Molten deals damage to target player and each creature that player controls equal to the number of cards discarded this way. Okay, so this guy potentially can like wipe their board, basically. Up to 3 damage to each of their creatures. Okay, yeah, okay. I mean, I get it. I definitely get it. You tried to discard 3 cards though to do that. I mean, that's quite a few cards. I mean, okay, so the body on this guy is, I mean, it's nice that trample is nice here for sure. The body on this guy, I wouldn't say is like incredibly exciting. Just because of the triple red cost here. But it's good enough if he has a powerful effect. Now, let's see how powerful this effect is. You can discard up to 3 cards. Okay, so basically, there's a few situations. Okay, so let's say you're playing mono red, right? And this guy's your curve topper. It's likely you won't have that many cards in hand when you play this guy. So you're probably going to play this guy and like deal 1 damage maybe. All right, if you happen to discard that card, you might not even do it at that point. Now I guess there's a situation where like because 5 lands for a mono red deck is actually a lot, right? Getting to 5 mana, like most mono red decks don't play cards higher than like 4, and 4 is like the top of their curve, right? So here you're asking a lot for making this guy cost 5, and then it just makes it so unlikely that they'll have cards in hand to discard of this guy. Now let's say that they do. So let's say basically you get to 5 lands in your red deck, and like you're starting to lose. You know, they've like killed a bunch of your stuff, or like they have a bunch of stuff on the board, and now it's hard for you to attack. And now you're like holding cards in your hand, and then you play this guy and potentially wipe their board, but only if they've got creatures of toughness 3 or less. I mean, this effect is powerful, but it seems just so situational to me. That's my only issue, right? Because, okay, so in order to get, like, actual decent value out of this, you have to discard 3 cards. Or, you could discard 2, right? But, okay, this is a 5-drop, right? So, maybe against, like a mono white deck, like a white weenie deck, discarding 2 would be enough. You discard 2 cards, and then you better be killing 2 of their things, basically. Or something. The damage to face is nice on this guy, too. That's a nice addition. So like but it seems like what this guy is trying to do is just too difficult to pull off, right? Like, wait, you want to have 3 cards in hand plus this guy, so you want to have 4 cards in hand with a deck that's heavy red, and that just seems. So it's like, okay, you're either playing an aggressive deck that includes a lot of red, in which case it's going to be very hard for you to have 5 mana and 3 cards in hand, right? Well, 4, I guess. 4 cards in hand because you'll have this guy. Or you're playing like a big red deck, but in a big red deck, you probably don't want to be discarding 3 cards out of your hand. Because, you're not really playing... In a big red deck, you tend not to have a ton of value. There's no card draw, right? Like, red doesn't have raw card draw. They've got, like, exile the top card, play it, type thing. So, I don't know how much I like this guy. The idea is really neat, but I just think that, like, the situation where this guy is good is going to be so rare that you might as well just not play this guy in your red decks and just play some more burn spells, and you'll kind of like be in a better position, right? Because at least your burn spells you can cast early on, for remove their creatures before they get a huge board, okay, if you're playing a deck with like a lot of flashback or like get back cards from the graveyard things, then this could be pretty good. But again, you're asking for a lot of red here, so it makes it less likely that that's actually going to happen. And and at that point, like, just play Seasoned Pyromancer or something, right? Seasoned Pyromancer, you can play it a lot earlier. It's less red. You get you get some tokens out of the deal. It's cheaper, unfortunately, I'm not a huge fan of this particular design, just because of the constraints that you put on this card. If this guy was like cheaper and said you could discard up to like 2 cards, then you might be talking. Because then, let's say this guy like just cost triple red, right? And it said you could discard up to 2 cards, and of course his body would be smaller. Then you're starting to talk. Now you're starting to interest me, right? Because now it's like, okay, in a mono red deck, you're probably gonna be able to hold on to some lands, right? Like, if you happen to draw like lands, you're not gonna like want to, you want to hold on to them, and then this guy can actually use those lands to do damage, and that's cool. But this guy costing 5 makes that so unlikely, because you're going to have to play those extra lands to actually play this guy out. So, like, it's going to take way too long for this guy to actually do anything. I think the design could work if the card was altered to be, I think, cheaper and have, like, give him, like, a relevant body and make this, just because, like, make him, like, a 3/3 trample for triple red. Sorry about all that. I hope you guys can't hear that, but my phone's going off. Let me go ahead and mute that. There we go. Okay. So yeah, anyway, that's enough talking about this guy. I have one other issue, which is the art. Unfortunately, the art's cool, but it looks like somebody took a picture of something like a really faded painting or something. It's a little. It looks a little worn or something. I don't know. It doesn't quite fit. The style I love, right? This art is very cool. It's just like what's going on with like this? This looks like a crease or something. Like, it literally looks like somebody took a picture of like a painting or something. So yeah, the art I'm not the biggest fan of for that reason. Other than that, the presentation's great formatting. Oh, you do have a slight grammatical error here. It should say, then Sultan of the Molten deals damage to target player and each... So you don't need this comma here, basically. To target player and each creature that player controls, equal to the number of cards discarded this way. You could reword this to make it a little bit like, to make it a little... okay, so what would happen if this said, then Sultan of the Molten deals X damage to target player and each creature that player controls, where X is the number of cards discarded this way. Yeah, something like that would work. Anyway, regardless, grammar-wise, this comma, it shouldn't be here. Okay, so a few issues, and again, I'm not a big fan of this design. The idea is there, but I think that there's just... I think with the cost, it just doesn't work out on this guy. So I'll give this card a 5 out of 10. It's got some potential, but it has a few issues. So yeah, that's my review of Sultan of the Molten, and he should definitely be called that. Okay, just saying.